What's good, guys? This is Charles from Team COG coming to you guys here with my Necross deck profile. If you guys don't know, I've been streaming this deck over on Twitch for the past few nights ever since I found out I've had COVID. Good news, I'm in the clear, but if you guys want to hop on over to Twitch and support the channel, you can do so that way. We're on the road to affiliate, and it is twitch.tv/team_COG. You guys can follow, give me a follow, and we're just trying to stream as much as we can with the work schedule that I got, especially now after having COVID and being laid off for a little bit. I'm going to have to work a few extra hours, so we might have some later in the evening streams coming up, but we'll love to see you guys over there. And before I continue, of course, let me just go ahead and give you guys a little background about this deck. I really wanted to have a water deck to fit in my Imperium water deck box, which, of course, if you guys enjoy that deck box, the sleeves, the hat, the mat, Imperium Duels, link down in the description below. Use my code TEAMCOG10 to get 10% off your order there. That is a good way to help support the channel that way. But I wanted to have a water deck box to put in there, and I literally used to play Necross back in 2016. After it really got hit and the deck kind of came semi-affordable, I watched Henko Chow, right? He played a Kaiju list, and I took his list and played it for a long time. And now since a Reed Bear's come out, the deck's at full power, Incantations, I've been playing it a lot lately, and I've been having some pretty good success, more than what I would think. And the deck is insanely consistent, and it's probably what I would say set the bar for ritual strategies, right? The deck just really set the bar high to be a pure ritual deck and what you need to have it do. Even Drytron's a ritual strategy, but it's more so it doesn't do what Necross did, and it doesn't do what Gishki did. It's not to me, it's not like a true ritual deck in a way, right? You're not ending on powerful ritual boss monsters. You can, but you're not doing, it's not the optimal play, right? You're not ending on their huge ritual as with Necross, you're ending on a Reed Bear and Unicorn and stuff like that. But anyway, I'll show you guys the main deck and the extra deck. I don't really have a side deck formulated at the moment. There's certain things in the side deck or extra deck I would probably change here, but I'll discuss those when I get there. And I have one proxy. I've been being done dirty by the mail lately, and so thankfully my friend Shane was able to hook me up with the cards I was missing to get this profile, minus one card. But without further ado, I'll go through the deck and I'll tell you guys about the choices and stuff, and talk to you guys about some things like that. I actually really think, before I wouldn't believe that this deck would be as cool or as consistent, but it truly is. It is really, really consistent in what it does. And that's usually end on Unicorn and a Reed Bear. And also, you would never believe trishing someone in 2022 would still be as impactful as it was in 2015. It's still pretty big. But anyway, moving on, we'll just quickly go through it here. 3 Brio. Brio here is your Rhoda of the deck. You use this, you discard this card, lets you add any Necross monster, and then it allows you to bounce 2 monsters from the extra deck back to the extra deck, which is really cool. It's really good to summon Unicorn into an extra deck full board, and then use Brio to bounce it back. But this card was at 1 for a while. It's no longer at 1. It's level 6. It's cool. If you guys don't know the story or lore behind this artwork, pretty much it traces its way all the way back to Dual Terminal, and this is pretty much they're using their Necross rituals to adorn the armor. Or, yeah, bear the armor, essentially, of, the Fallen Ice Barrier Dragons, Brio, Trish, and Gungnir, along with some other powerful, synchros from the Dual Terminal storyline. But moving on, we are on to 3 Unicorn. Now, if you don't know what this card does, you might be living under a rock, but I'll tell you what it does. It allows you to pitch itself from the hand to add a Necross monster from the graveyard, or Necross card, excuse me, from the graveyard to the hand, and then while this card is face up on the field, this card says you then negate the effects of all extra deck monsters summoned from the extra deck. So it's a walking floodgate, it's insane. You would think that 7+ years Unicorn would be irrelevant, but still dropping a Unicorn can literally, or just ending on a Unicorn can literally put the opponent in such a turmoil. Of course, Flunder, True Draco, Monarch, stuff like that are not going to care about Unicorn, but most of the decks today, even some of the strongest rogue decks, have to use their extra deck. And if they can't out Unicorn, they're not going to get access to that. So it prematurely puts them to go to battle phase and stuff like that. It's really cool. It really, Necross and Unicorn really simplifies the game state, which is, I have found out with Necross, what you want to do is you want to get the game state simplified. And there's certain cards we play that can simplify the game state during their turn 1. It's cool. But anyway, moving on, double Clauseless. You don't need to play 3. 2 is good enough. You pitch this card, it allows you to add a ritual spell, a Necross ritual spell, and then on the field, it's a quick effect. Target an extra deck monster, negate its effects, and make its attack 0. So it's not as good as Unicorn is here, but I mean it does serve its purpose, right? It is something you can kaleidoscope out. You can end on Unicorn plus Clauseless, but I found ending on both these guys are just it's redundant in a way because there's no point of it, right? You're negating all extra deck monsters' effects. The only reason you want to end on Clauselith is to be able to do like the attack modification. But I guess like other than that, like it's just the levels fit well. You can kaleidoscope it out with like some other big monsters and stuff like that. So, but anyway, moving on to my favorite card in the entire deck, Necros of Areadbare. This card came out from Ghost of the Past. It is so cool. If you guys don't know, it is Shuret's wearing the armor of Dragunity Knight Areadbare, which is really cool. You don't really use this card's discard effect too much. However, there are some lines and stuff like that to where you need it to fuel the graveyard so you can get some ritual spells in the hand. But what it allows you to do is you send this card from your hand to tribute cards or Necros cards in your hand, and you Foolish Burial up to 2 that you tribute. And then when a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you contribute a monster card from hand or field and then negate and banish. So like now, like instead of just ending on Unicorn Pass, we're ending on Unicorn plus Areadbare. So we simplified the game state and we have a monster negate. And Areadbare is 3,300 attack. So like in simplified Yu-Gi-Oh, big attack monsters win. So it's really cool. It's hands down my favorite card. Like Trish used to be my favorite card, but ever since this card's come out, I mean the artwork on it's just beautiful. It is by far my favorite card. Moving on to a few oldies but goodies, Valkyris and then Trishula here. Valk is, you could arguably almost get rid of Valk, but I've found that sometimes you need the draw 2, and sometimes like the battle effect, in the battle phase is kind of cool, right? But the draw 2 is what's most important. You could potentially replace this. I've even thought about replacing this with Gungnir because you'd get more utility out of summoning Gungnir plus like Unicorn because Gungnir is a quick effect pop. Valkyris just draws you more cards, and of course we all know Trish here. Trish is literally this card like shaped a format. To this day, I think I've Trished 20 plus times because people don't play around this card anymore. So like I've Trished them and then ripped 3 cards, which is such a huge setback. I don't think there's been a time when I've successfully resolved Trish that I've lost. Because like I said, you're trying to play simplified Yu-Gi-Oh! And on top of playing Unicorn and certain other strategies and stuff like that in the deck, once you Trish them, you're setting them so far back when resources that you're just going to out-resource them, which for a ritual deck is huge, right? But anyway, for the final ritual, which is, honorary mention, Incantation Chalice Slime. The Incantations had such a huge depth to the deck, literally giving it consistency like it's never had before. And Chalice Slime is literally no joke either. It's such a good card. Like this card's really insane if you really think about it. You discard a card, summon the Incantation from deck, and then if you discard the ritual spell, you can send this card to summon. It's just crazy. Like the combos that the Incantations gives this deck is insane. It doesn't have like a bad on-field effect either. Like you can just like summon it and then use it, pinch an Incantation to destroy a card on field. But that is it for all the ritual monsters, and this is a lot of ritual. Like when I think I'm playing a ritual deck, this is like the amount of ritual monsters I want to play. But I believe like the deck like Necros set that standard. But anyway, moving on. One Shuret, Strategist of the Necros. There is a world where you cut all the incantations, you play 2 to 3 Shuret, and then you end up playing a lot of hand traps. And I don't know if we will do that moving forward or like what, but like that is like a possibility, right? But sure, it's really good. It allows you to use this as the whole tribute for a ritual summon, which allows you to get your bigger monsters such as Trish, such as Areadbare, even Valk out really easy, while getting you to search up for Brio for a follow-up. Or in some lines, you're able to like tribute for Areadbare, then you get to add Trish, and then Trish is a hand trap if you guys don't know what Trish does, which I kind of like. It has the same Trish effect that the Ice Barrier Dragon has, where you banish one from hand, field, or grave, but it also has the ability that if something targets a Necros monster you have, you can pitch it and negate the activation. So it's really good. And then moving on to the Incantations, we're on to 2 Talismandria, 2 Candle, 1 Bookstone, and 1 Pencil Plume. For the power of editing, I will put in Pencil Plume's picture here, but these are all really good. This allows you, when it is summoned, to add a ritual monster, a ritual spell, add back a ritual spell from the graveyard, add back a ritual monster from the graveyard. And if you guys notice, like their levels are pretty good, right? We have level 4, level 6, level 5, level 3. So we're able to like meet those odd requirements that the Necros monsters have. Like all the big monsters pretty much say like you have to have like, you can't use one monster for their tribute unless you're using a Shuret. So you have to have 2 monsters in order to like ritual summon for them. So these cards allow you to like fulfill that. 6 and 3 is 9, 6 and 4 is 10, 5 and 3 is 8, 5 and 4 is 9. So like you meet those requirements, and that's what the Incantations give you. And they're also like crazy bait and stuff like that. Like the deck, like honestly, like the deck really could almost be played as a going second deck, which I kind of like because like the deck really wasn't too die roll dependent. Going first, if I'm shutting them off from their like extra deck and I'm setting up Reed Bear, I've simplified the game state. And going second, like cards like Incantations and stuff have bait so much stuff. And then you're like using resolving cards like Trish and like some of this the other card coming up right now, which is triple Mega Monarch Zaborg. So Mega Monarch Zaborg is really good. Like this card is, you have to play this card. Like I shouldn't say you have to. I prefer it over the Vanity's Fiend engine. If you resolve Zaborg, you really should not be losing that game. This is the card that I was talking about earlier in the profile, where if you resolve this card, you have simplified the game state to primitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Before your opponents even get to have their first turn. So this card lets you rip 8 cards from their extra deck, and if you tribute a light monster, which if you guys don't know, you're probably going to use Incantation, so it's going to be Candle or a Pencil Plume, you're going to be able to like rip 8 from their extra and send 8 from yours, which if you realize like what Necros do, that's fine. You want to send 8 cards from your extra deck. So you're ripping 8 from them, and then you have whatever cards they have left in their extra deck. You can even play around, toy with them, and make them to where like you can summon 1 extra deck monster because I left you 1. That's useful, but it's going to be negated by Unicorn. So it's a complete blowout going first. And then going second, we play cards like Intis. So like not only are we ripping the rest of their extra deck for 8, we're going to be able to like send 3 Intis from ours, and that's going to pop 3 cards on the field. So it's going to clear the way. Super easy. And it's the only normal summon we actually play in the deck, like in this list. And it is, you can even you can pop on over to Twitch and ask my chat in Twitch. Like every time that Zaborg resolved, I won too. So it's just, the card's insane. I wish it was more searchable. Like, I get why you'd want to play, like, the Ben 10 and the Vanity Ruler and stuff, because, like, Ben 10's more searchable in the deck than, like, Zaborg, but Zaborg just blows out way more. Zaborg just, like, completely blows out. Like, it's, you know, like, if you just go summon Vanity's Fiend and they in-perm Vanity's Fiend, it's like, GG, your entire game plan's over, whereas if you, like, still end on, like, you can Zaborg and still end on a Reed Bear and Unicorn, and it's like, even if they in-perm the Unicorn, cool. Like, what are you going to do? I've even had my opponent in-perm my Reed Bear, and I'm like, sweet, you know, still, what are you going to do? Your extra deck is completely diminished. You're not going to be able to get over my big monsters. Like, what's the game plan here? And it's crazy. But moving on, three Ash Blossoms. You got to play, we're playing 6 hand traps, I believe, in this list. 3 Ash. And this is where I said earlier you could potentially probably play more. You could dumb down the Incantation engine by quite a bit and probably get away with playing some more. But I think 3 Ash is just mandatory. You have to play 3 Ash, or you play full send. But anyway, moving on. 3 pre-prep. This card is insane. Lets you add any level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck. And it also lets you grab a ritual spell back from the graveyard. So it allows you to keep that resource and stuff like that. Now this card right here, Triple Pot of Extravagance. So I've been testing this card. I've been really liking it. Technically speaking, you can resolve Pot of Extravagance, and then you can still Zaborg, right? So, like, you just got to be very careful with what you're banishing. Or not really be careful, because you don't get no choice with Extravagance. You just got to get lucky. That's why you're playing 3 of a lot of cards, so that way, like, if you resolve Zaborg, you can still do some things. I have yet to banish all 3 Herald of the Arclight from my Pot of Extravagance, so it's not too bad. The reason we're playing Pot of Extravagance over, like, Pot of Prosperity or, like, any other, like, crazy draw card is Pot of Extravagance gives us that +1. So, newsflash, we are a ritual deck, and we take a lot of resources to play. So getting that +1 off of the Extravagance is really what's the most important. Pot of Exquisiteness, I think it is. Pot of Prosperity. Where did I get Exquisite? I forget whatever it is. Pot of Prosperity is the card I'm thinking of. Yes, you can dig 6 cards deep and potentially get to your Zaborg, but you need resource. You need a +1. The way that this deck wins is by grind, right? We're trying to grind. We're trying to beat your opponent in resources. We're trying to simplify the game state. So you got to simplify the game state while keeping resources. So Extravagance just allows us to do that by getting that +1. And like I said, the extra resource. You're always going to have a Unicorn, a Kaleidoscope target for Unicorn, regardless. So even if you banish all 3 Heralds, the likelihood of you banish 3 Heralds and 3 Intis are slim to none. So like you're always going to have the ability to summon Unicorn. Moving on, 2 cycle. And I guess something else to talk about with Pot real quick is like you are a ritual deck, and yes, we are consistent, but sometimes like hand traps exist. Sometimes we need to draw into those powerful extenders, and that's what Extravagance allows us to do. The only confliction I have with Extravagance is they've been times where like I've drawn into like Zaborg, and I've gone combo, and you just got to remember you can't draw the turn you activate Extravagance, because like I've caught myself trying to go for like Valkyris lines to draw more, and you just can't do it. And that's where like you could arguably play Gungnir instead of Valk. Gungnir protects from destruction. It's just a better monster, I believe, but Anyway, 2 Cycle, 2 Kaleidoscope, and 1 Mirror. These are what you play for your Necros ritual spells. For those who don't know, you can only activate 1 per turn, and they all let you ritual summon like a normal ritual summon, but each one lets you like do something pretty cool. So Cycle lets you ritual summon from the graveyard. Kaleidoscope lets you send an extra deck monster to summon multiple monsters, not just one. If you have a Kaleidoscope, or excuse me, if you have a Unicorn plus Valk, and you send a level 12, you can summon both Valk and Unicorn. Mirror lets you use the graveyard to banish cards as cost, stuff like that. The coolest thing ever is like resolving Shearet to grab Trish, and then Mirror banish the Shearet and grave, because Shearet can count as the full tribute from hand or grave, and then Trish into them in 2. But that's it for the Necros ritual spells here. For the 1 Incantation Inception, this card comes up a lot more than you think. It's actually what allows us to ritual summon a Reed Bear a lot more, simply because like you resolve like Talismandry or Candle, you're pretty much going to get the other Talis. If you resolve Candle, you're getting Talismandry. If you resolve Talismandry, you're getting Candle. And 6 and 4 is 10, so you're able to smack down Inception and ritual out the a Reed Bear, which is really cool. 2 triple tactics. You just want to 2 is a good number, 3 is too many. This card is just, you know, hand trap hate, and just allows us to like have that versatility in going first and going second. So it's really cool. For the final 3 hand traps, I'm on to 3 imperms. I was playing Gamma for a while, but I felt like Gamma was just, Gamma just stayed in my hand, so I really wanted a card like imperm that I could set instead of just staying in my hand. The only plus side that Gamma had was that I could use it for a Reed Bear to tribute in hand, but most of the time I already had a monster that I could tribute, or there's an incantation out. So instead of just having the Gamma just sit in my hand, I wanted something that was like decent. And that's what Impermanence is. And that's also why I prefer playing the Extravagances here, because they let you draw into those hand traps. So like, best case scenario, you're going to end your board with like a Reed Bear Unicorn, and you draw into both Ash and Imperm, and you're sitting really good. So 42 cards in the main deck here. There's not really anything I would truly change except for the Valk for maybe Gungnir. Other than that, maybe, like I said, there's a world where you cut down on all the incantation stuff here, and possibly the Zaborg as well. 100% the Zaborg. So you cut down on the whole like incantation Zaborg package, and you move over and you play a lot more hand traps, and you up Shearet here, so like you have more time, so you're able to resolve like use Shearet a lot more. There is a world where that is a build and a list that you try, but I've been really enjoying like the explosiveness of the incantation still. So I will move on over here to the extra deck. So I'm still fooling around with the extra deck. It's completely a resource, so I don't have it fine-tuned yet. I have the bare minimum, but there is a card like from Pote, Powers of the Elements I want to get. It's like Garuda, I think. If it gets sent to the graveyard, you draw a card, and that's just perfect. It's level 6, so it's like a perfect Kaleidoscope target to summon out Brio and things like that. But for the most part, what I believe is necessary in the deck is you got to play triple Herald. You got to play 1 Omega, 1 Farragut, and then right here, 3 Entis. And I believe these 8 cards are what's necessary. And the reason I say that is because Herald or Ritual deck. I mean, like, you resolve Zaborg, you're getting 3 searches. You're going to resolve Herald like almost 4 times if you resolve Zaborg. Sign-Frame Omega to be able to put back, to be able to resolve stuff. Tri-Brigade, Farragut, which is right here. This card allows you to correct your hands. It allows you to draw a card, put back a card. So it allows you to put back copies, cards you won't use, stuff like that, which I think is really good. And then the 3 Entis, which allows us to pretty much just pop cards. Like I said, this if you're going second, Zaborg just allows you to literally go crazy. Like, you summon Zaborg, and then you're sending these 8 right here, which then is, you're getting 3 searches, 3 pops, an add back, a draw, and put back. And then if we get Garuda, you'll be able to, you can like send like a different choice, you know, because like maybe you don't need to pop 3 cards with Entis, so you just send like the 2 Entis and then 1 Garuda, or, you know, etc., etc. Otherwise, the rest of the stuff is just kind of like different levels. Black Rose is level 7 for 4 and 3. Leo is 12, so for like Valk and Unicorn. Abyss Dweller, because like sometimes in theory you can put up 2 Unicorns and make Dweller. And then the rest of these, it's just like a small Shadal package, like, you know, like right here, just extra like fodder to send. Like I said, this part of the package is, this part of the extra deck is not like fine-tuned to be like everything has a thing. The Fossil Knight would be a good card. The Garuda would be a good card. So there's like 2, and then like you have 3 other spots you can kind of tinker around with. Play like generic rank 4s or something like that. That when you do get 2 Unicorns out, you can overlay and make something. But I have found myself very seldom not using my summoning back 2 Unicorns and making something. The only times I would actually, that's why I have Abyss Dweller in here. So like that's the only time I could see you possibly doing that is against Tearmolence doing Abyss Dweller, because like Unicorn is not enough, but like Unicorn is enough against that deck. It forces the deck to like play very, very awkwardly. But anyway, that is it, guys, for the deck profile. I'll quickly showcase you guys like a combo in a way that will, you know, that'll show you guys like what the deck can do. Okay, guys, here we go. We got it. The deck is shuffled. I'm gonna do a quick test hand. I know I said combo, but I figure a test hand will like show you guys a little bit better. So we go ahead and do a quick cut. Draw our first 4 cards. We're gonna draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, like seeing 2 ashes is not the best, but anyway, we'll start out by doing 3 extra here. I didn't actually shuffle the extra deck, so we'll quickly just shuffle up the extra deck here and banish 6. And even if we do lose, like, so like if they ash here, we still have prep to grab us Unicorn. Unicorn can grab us, excuse me, prep grabs us Bryo. Bryo grabs us Unicorn, and then like there we go. And then we Kaleidoscope, and then we have to get in on like Trish plus Unicorn, which is, I guess, like not the worst, but anyway, there we go. Send 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see what we got here. Intis, Herald. So I mean that's not bad. Like really, that's not awful at all. So we're gonna draw 2. We draw Imperm, and we draw Talismandria. So okay, so this like immediately this right here is actually really good. We're gonna go ahead and go prep to grab Brio. Brio right here. Then we'll go ahead and we will go, I think we go Talismandria. Activate Talismandria, reveal Brio. Summon out Talismandria to summon out the Candle effect. And I think what we're going to grab here is we're going to grab the Incantation Ritual. Spell Inception. There we go. So we grab Inception. We will go ahead and fire off Brio to go ahead and grab us Unicorn. Then we go Kaleidoscope, sending Herald to summon out Unicorn. Herald's effect, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a Reed Bear. Then we're going to go ahead and use Inception that we added off of the Candle here to ritual summon using the 6 and 4, which is 10, to go ahead and ritual summon out a Reed Bear. Then we're just going to go ahead and set this right here, and then this is our end board. We actually have a Reed Bear, negate, Unicorn of Alexa deck, Imperm, 2 ash. So one of these ashes can actually be tributed for a Reed Bear, so that you can keep the body on the field. But if you want to hold on to the ash, you can use a Reed Bear to tribute itself to send it to the graveyard. But yeah, that's not too bad, really, at all. This is essentially what the decks has been able to do for me in testing quite a bit. We're always consistently able to end on a Reed Bear and Unicorn. The only other route we could have gone, if you did not want to end on a Reed Bear and you don't like value a Reed Bear as much as like I do, you could add Trish, so then your inboard would be this plus Trish, so then you can protect the Unicorn. So technically where you're ending on 4 interruptions in a way, if you really count Unicorns being an interruption. Maybe Unicorn is more of a roadblock, but 3 interruptions and then Unicorn, which is a floodgate. That's not too bad, and that's exactly like what this deck is able to do very consistently. And then if we draw for turn, we're drawing Brio, which is actually quite insane. That's just assuming, I mean, like that's insane. Like assuming like we ashed, we use a Reed Bear, and we Imperm. We're actually going to be able to Brio here to be able to do some other funky stuff. We can go ahead and Brio for, goodness, like we could really grab anything. And then like even if they like end this whole like out the whole board, right? We still have Kaleidoscope in the graveyard that we can use to banish to get a ritual spell. So that would actually make the Brio a little bit more impactful. Yeah, just quite crazy actually. So yeah, guys, that was the test hand. Hope you guys enjoy. If you guys want to see more Necros content, hop on over to Twitch and stay tuned. I'm actually going to put up like probably a more in-depth test hand video with the deck, just because like the deck has so many different lines of play and so many things that can be added to it. So like I really just need to sit down and break it down and just go do like 4 or 5 test hands and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, please remember, you guys stay safe, stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG signing out.